Welcome to SPERO DEI.
SPERO DEI is a collective of individuals on a journey,
walking together without judgment.
This is a safe place to ask questions without fear.
A safe place to have any doubt.
A safe place to reimagine beliefs.
SPERO DEI is centered on Christ.
We trust more in our relationship with God than following a list of prescribed beliefs.
Meaning it's more about attuning to God
rather than conforming to doctrinal rigidity.
At SPERO DEI, we integrate body, mind, heart, and soul
to build a holistic Christian spirituality.
We are a place where mystery, experience, science, history, perennial tradition, and sensible thinking
deepens our understanding of God and the world.
It's about being spiritually whole, not about being biblically behaved.
At SPERO DEI, we value love, Christ-like love.
We think that love is the point of Christianity, period.
At SPERO DEI, all are welcome, no matter
your sexual orientation.
We are fully affirming
your gender identity,
your ethnicity,
your social status, and your politics.
SPERO DEI, where your story finds a home.
SPERO DEI, where your story finds a home.
SPERO DEI, donde tu historia encuentra un hogar.
SPERO DEI, where your story finds a home.
Well, hey everybody, and welcome to SPERO DEI. I'm so glad that you are joining us online, and if you're watching in Nashville, welcome. If you're watching in some other city in the United States, welcome. I want to give a big shout out to Carlin Moore in Southern California. Carlin, thanks for tuning in. I know we have folks tuning in from Canada, from the UK, from New Zealand, from Australia. So wherever you are watching, whether it's in this country or some other place in the world, welcome to this very, very unique church. And no matter who you are welcome. Whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're bi, whether you're trans, whether you're young or old, tall or short like me. I'm a shorter person, you can't tell on the television screen here, but trust me, I am. And when we say you are welcome here, we literally mean you are welcome here just the way you are. Here's what we don't mean. It's not you're welcome here in our door, but now we're going to try to convert you to something. No, not at all. SPERO DEI is a place where you can reimagine a different kind of Christianity, where you can even have your spiritual life and your Christian spirituality, you can reconstruct it after you deconstruct it. You can rebuild it and imagine it in new kinds of ways. You do not have to leave the church to rethink your faith. I know some of you thought you had to. That's because the church you thought you had to leave, that church was a rigid box that said, this is the truth, and how we interpret the truth is the truth. And so if you can't conform to this version of it, then you either stay or go. So some of you have said, well, then I'm going. SPERO DEI is not a church like that. If you want to know more about us, oh my gosh, go to SPERODEI.com. In fact, find our FAQ sheet where we talk about, does SPERO DEI have a statement of belief or faith? Is SPERO DEI an evangelical church? Where is SPERO DEI on the Bible? Where is SPERO DEI on women, on gay inclusion? If you want to know more about us, go to SPERODEI.com. But I just want to welcome you today.
in the crashing, in the pressing, you were making new wine. In the soul I now surrender, you were breaking new ground. And so I yield to you into your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Just make me a vessel, and make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. 'Cause I came here with nothing but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. In the crushing, in the pressing, you were making new wine. In the soul I now surrender, you were breaking new ground, yeah. You were breaking new ground. So make me a vessel, and make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. 'Cause I came here with nothing but all you have given me. So Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Yeah, Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom. The kingdom is here. I lay down my own flames to carry a new fire today. Where there is new wine, where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom. The kingdom is here. I lay down my own flames to carry a new fire today. Oh, won't you make me on? Make me a vessel, make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. Lord, I came here with nothing but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Yeah, Jesus, bring new wine out of me.
Well, last week I started a message on forgiveness. I gave part 1. And this week I want to give part 2 and continue that. Now, we Christian ministers, right, we are constantly talking about forgiveness. Of course we are. Because forgiveness along with love, these are two of the major radical concepts, cornerstones of all of Christian spirituality. There is so much power in forgiveness when you give it and when you receive it. You know, if you've ever hurt somebody you love, and then you are awakened to how much pain and wounding it has caused them, and then they turn around and forgive you for it, that overwhelming love, that flood of grace, that is experiential. To experience the mercy of their love and compassion after you've hurt them, oh my gosh, the humility it just brings to you. Your own self-importance takes a backseat to their value, right? It marks you with grace. To be given that kind of love, so undeserved, it validates your own value in an ironic way that now you don't focus on your own value because their forgiveness for you secures your value, that now it allows you to focus on them and the hurt and everything you need to do to restore it and to bring remorse. Forgiveness is such a healing and powerful thing. Years ago, when I was a young man in my 20s, I became so angry with my father. I'm not going to go into what it was or the reason, but I'll add this, that because of my youth, my own pride, as well as a story within my family I did not have full understanding of, I accidentally blamed my father and I made him the brunt of all of my anger, so much so that I wanted to hurt him because of it. So I made a decision and chose an act that would deeply wound him, and it did. And it devastated our relationship for a number of years. And I was responsible for that hurt. I made a decision that had lasting effect for years on our relationship. But in those following years, my father just calmly loved me and accepted me, and then a number of years later initiated forgiveness towards me. And that is so, so powerful. And this is the cornerstone of our Christian faith. We have a God who forgives. We have a God who doesn't condemn. We have a God who loves and gives grace and mercy. And when you experience that, oh my gosh, it changes everything about you. But the reality about forgiveness is when someone hurts us, sometimes we can have an aversion to it. Even though we believe in that same kind of Christian cornerstone and hold it as a high value of our faith to give and to receive. And even though we sometimes saturate ourselves in spiritual practices like prayer or scriptural meditation, sometimes when we have been so hurt, it is hard to let go. You see, to really forgive, to really experience it experientially, and for it to be lasting, it doesn't happen by demanding our benevolence. It doesn't come by appealing to a greater kindness and compassion first, but it comes first by addressing our fears, our lack of trust and concerns. This is what Jesus always did first. And this is why sometimes we have an aversion to forgiveness, even though we want to forgive somebody. If we are still feeling unsafe in this, and that this person might hurt me again, we have an aversion to forgiveness. So here is barrier number 2 as to why sometimes we have an aversion to forgiveness. And this is the whole idea that what is innate in us is self-protection. We wonder, oh my gosh, if I give forgiveness, will it backfire on me? What happens if I give it and it just comes back to haunt me? I'm taken advantage of because I gave it. You know, it's interesting when Jesus is with the woman who was caught in adultery, he completely makes himself safe to her. In fact, he turns to her and he says, I don't condemn you. I don't condemn you at all. But if you are a person who has experienced some repeated harmful behavior, and then you receive some sort of lack of remorse or a haphazard apology for a specific behavior, if you are registering that, you're less likely to forgive. You'll probably resist forgiveness. In fact, some of the research found that you might even have a strong motivation to forgive. You might even desire to maintain a close relationship. But if you feel, oh my gosh, you're being gaslit here, or this person is just not registering how much they've hurt me, what some of the experts say is you might have to recalibrate some of the power in that relationship. There were recent studies done that one of the hardest decisions that we face in all relationships is this: am I going to get my core needs met in a relationship? And specifically, am I going to get my core needs met of safety and trust? We need that. Now, the outgoing behavior of the offender, this is key here. If the hurtful behavior continues, if any sense of wrongdoing is denied, if the impact of that behavior is minimized, if the recipient's sense of self continues to be diminished by the offender, or trust just continues to be broken, or the victim continues to be gaslit by the offender's words and behavior, if someone experiences any or all of these factors, then forgiveness can start to feel like an impossible, if not stupid thing to do. You can start to be overwhelmed with, I'd be crazy to forgive this person because it leaves me so unprotected. By the way, I want to validate you. If you have that feeling, that's legitimate. So how can we overcome this barrier of self-protection? Some of the studies say that victims may legitimately be concerned that forgiveness opens them up to further victimization. That's what some of the research shows, that if you feel that, oh my gosh, I'm a target here again, you're going to be less likely to forgive, because you feel like your self-protection is getting less and less. In other words, another way to say this is people sometimes have understandable fears that offering forgiveness will be misinterpreted by that offender as evidence that, oh, yeah, they quick to forgive. I can get away with this same behavior again. Listen, you have the right to set and enforce legitimate boundaries in a relationship. Forgiveness can also involve not being in a relationship with someone any longer. Or you can change the rules. You can change the power dynamics, especially if you feel like they leave you less and less protected. And only when someone kind of alters a behavior and their ability to respect and also to be part of self-protecting you, that's the only way that you can overcome this barrier. So here's the third barrier why we can have an aversion to forgiveness. This is our save-face concerns. This is our fear that I might end up looking like a doormat to others. You see, this is exactly what life and even the conservative, religious, biblicistic leaders, that's exactly what they did to this woman. Their religious rigidity, their biblical fundamentalism, not only had life robbed her of dignity, they then added to it spiritually through their judgments. But what does Jesus do as a spiritual leader? He lifts her dignity. What we might call this is our internal need to save face in front of other people, the people we love, the people we admire. We do not want to be seen as a pushover or a doormat, right? We don't want others to see us that way. And as social relational beings, we're primed to not want to appear weak or pathetic in front of other people. And if we feel we will be, we protect ourselves from feeling that inner shame in many ways, which may include the reluctance to forgive. We may withhold forgiveness if that's what it appears happens to us. And researchers have discovered that when we hang on to a grudge, it's not just because of resentment, but it gives us a sense of control in a relationship that has so hurt us. And we may fear that if we don't hold on to that grudge, we may end up looking foolish or we lose our social power. And so this is why some of us don't forgive. So these three things that I've shared, the fear that I'll be hurt again, the fear that I am unprotected, and the fear that I may lose my dignity, these are the things that Jesus addressed first. So experiencing forgiveness is not demanding and calling forth just be more loving, compassionate, forgiving. No, no, no. It's following the model Christ used, which was we secure fears and insecurities and lack of trust first. And partly when you've experienced a hurt between two people, that full burden doesn't, as I said last week, that full burden doesn't rely on the one who's been hurt. Most of the weight of trust being built lies upon the one who did the offense, the one who did the hurt. Listen, we've all hurt people. I have hurt people I love deeply. And so my attitude towards them isn't, you're supposed to forgive me. A good Christian is supposed to forgive me. No, that just makes matters worse. No, but if you are wrecked and awakened by the hurt you cause, you go, okay, I have to secure their fears. They're unready to forgive because they feel I might hurt them again. So my behavior and remorse has to change that. The last thing I'll say to this, for all of us to move to forgiveness, one of the other things we have to do is you have to let something die. Maybe there was a really tough hurt, a tough disappointment, and this relationship you thought was is no longer. Instead of trying to resurrect that relationship, what you may need to do is let it die. Now, what I'm not saying is you need to let it go. What I'm saying is this hurt changed our marriage. This hurt changed our friendship. This hurt changed the dynamic we had, and what was no longer is. And part of letting something die is grieving that. And when I can grieve that and feel that, then now something else is reborn. The amazing thing is we have a God who forgives. And I want you to know, whatever regret you feel in this life, whatever disappointment you feel in this life, whatever failure you feel you may have contributed in this life, or regret, I want you to know that there is a God who loves you and who overwhelmingly accepts you and who completely and utterly forgives you. What Jesus said to that woman, I don't condemn you, is true of what he says to you and to me. We have a God who loves even after we cause hurt. We have a God who loves and forgives. and you are forgiven.
I got a lot of lessons left to learn, but I'm not even close. Through my inhibition, I've become quite sure that I love you the most. That this could be the easiest thing if I'd let it, but I'm too afraid of losing it all. 'Cause if I leave everything on the table, then you might break my heart. But I know a love like this doesn't come around every day, and I just can't bring myself to give up right now. Not this way, 'cause I love you and I wanna hold you when we're old and gray. Oh, but love like this don't come around, don't come around every day.
Well, that was today's service. We hope that it was meaningful to you. My name is Wendy, and I'm part of the SPERO Day staff team. If you're enjoying SPERO Day and would like to learn more about us, please sign up for our newsletter on our website, SPERODEI.com. You can also follow us on social media. For those of you that have been giving, thank you so much. There is no way that we could do this without you. If you would like to start giving, it's very easy and safe. Just go to SPERODEI.com, and on the right side, you'll see a give option. It's secure, it's safe, and we would really appreciate that. Well, that's all for today, and we'll see you next week.